Recording is on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga here from Orlando, Florida. So today all I have is my yoga mat, my block, and my strap. We're going to be paying some extra attention to our lower back today, getting some nice stretching for that region and some strengthening too, because that's super important. So a lot of lower back, core, side bending, rotating, twisting today. So come on onto your mat in a simple cross-leg pose or a comfortable position for you today. Let's just sit nice and tall, close your eyes. Begin to focus on the breath and the way the breath moves in your body. So without altering the breath or changing it in any way, just be an observer and notice. How deep is the breath this morning? What is the texture of the breath? In and out through the nose. And feel the calming factor of the breath this morning. Allow it to relax your mind and your body. So yoga is that union of the breath and of movement of the body. So we begin to inhale as we raise the arms up. Exhale, drop the right arm and take a nice side stretch over to the right side and open up the ribs. Inhale to reach back up. And exhale to the other side. And again, being an observer, just notice what you're feeling in your body today as you begin to stretch. And just kind of shaking off the cobwebs, loosening up any stiffness that we might be feeling in the body today. So this lateral flexion of our spine is super important for lengthening through that QL muscle, quadratus lumborum, in our lower back. So we'll start to add just a little bit of rotation with this. So as I inhale up, exhale to the right and stretch, rotate and reach across the body. Then coming back up on the inhale, exhale side and a slight twist. And you are selecting your own pace today with these movements. If you feel the need to hold one side a little longer than the other, feel free and stretch. Our bodies are not always equal from one side to the other. And let's take one more to each side. With that rotation, then inhale, coming back up. Exhale into goalpost arms and pull the shoulders back. Slightly lift the heart. And take a breath in here. As you exhale, round your back, closing your elbows towards each other, dropping the chin down towards the chest, and really open up through those shoulder blades. And inhale to open. Exhale to close. And this is a little bit of a seated cat and cow. So we're letting our pelvis tip forward and our pelvis to tip back. Since we're on our sitting bones, this range of motion isn't very much, but it gets us started in flexion and extension of the spine. It's also a wonderful place to open up the chest, to stretch through the pecs. And one more time, each direction, opening and closing. And then open and hold, wrapping the right arm on top of the left. You can either hug here or wrap your arms into eagle position. Either one is fine. And we'll just start to turn our head from right to left very slowly, rotating through those neck muscles. And just notice, is it easier for you to rotate to the right than to the left or vice versa? And does it change the stretch in the backs of your shoulder blades? We'll take one more, rotating right and left. And bringing your head to center. Unwrap the arms, inhale, open. Exhale, the left arm is on top of the right. We either hug or wrap. And this time starting to the left, look over the shoulder and to the right. You can actually kind of dip your chin slightly down as you rotate as well, getting a little bit of a different stretch there in those muscles of the cervical spine. Maybe the elbows lift a little higher to find a different sensation. And we have one more, looking left and right. And then bring that head to center. Expand on the in-breath. Exhale, the hands find the knees, and we'll take 3 circles around, starting to the right, coming forward, to the left, and back to center. We'll inhale at the center mark, then take a big exhalation as we wrap the body around forward. And one more this direction. Circumduction of the spine. And then reverse 3 times, leading to the left. Rotate. Round the back forward. Inhale at the top. And a big exhalation around. And one more this direction. Coming back to center, finding that equal place, front and back, right and left sides of our body. So moving into some gentle strengthening for our low back, let's come into spinal balance. So on your hands and knees, shoulders over wrists, hips right over those knees, find an equal balanced position. Let's just take one cow and one cat just to find neutral spine. So we'll drop the belly down, look forward. Tailbone lifts, and then tuck the tailbone, looking down towards your knees, round your back, create space, and then find that neutral place right in the middle, where you have a small little arch in your lower back. Head is neutral as well, and we'll take the right leg back and the left arm forward on our in-breath. Feel the strengthening through your core. Then return the hand and the leg, switching sides, left leg, right arm, reaches. Now we've done this many times in our practice. So sometimes we just go through the motions and we don't feel the benefit of the pose. And I want you to fine-tune this a little bit today by drawing the belly button up towards the spine and really bracing the core as you reach. Thumb rotates up when you lift the arm. And the leg that goes behind, flex your foot vigorously and really straighten that leg so you feel strength and as much length as you can get from one leg to the opposite arm reaching out. And ideally, nothing changes in your spinal alignment. Let's do one more on each side. And then coming back to our neutral spine, we'll take one thread the needle, lifting the right arm up, stretch, and then draw that arm right through to lay your right shoulder down, the side of your head, We'll reach the top arm way up to the top of your mat, or that left arm. And just notice this gentle twist, a releasing of the lower back, a gentle stretch through the shoulder and the right side of your neck. And your pelvis should be really even here. Equal weight into each knee, right and left. Then preparing to rise out of the thread the needle, bring that left hand right underneath your shoulder, press yourself up, inhale, reach, and then set that hand right back down to the mat. One thread the needle to the left side. Inhale, stretch up. Slowly thread that arm underneath, looking to the right. Relax it down, and then the right arm's going to reach way out to the top of your mat. Pelvis is really even. And breathe into your ribs, into that space where we're twisting. Enjoying that nice gentle stretch. 2 more breaths. And then preparing to exit our pose, draw that right hand under the shoulder, press up on the in-breath, reach, and lower the hand back down. Stretch both arms way out in front of you, press back to a child's pose. And then on an inhale, glide forward to a kneeling plank. And drop your hips just a little bit into a baby back bend. And then press back into your child's pose. So I want you to decide how much of a back bend feels okay for you this morning. Maybe on each repetition you can try dropping those hips a little bit more to find that extension of the spine in the lower back. And then we really focus on shining the heart right through the shoulders towards the wall in front of you. Try not to scrunch up the shoulders, but really press them back. And we'll do 2 more. Our exhale is in our child's pose. Our inhale is in our spinal extension. It's a kneeling, upward facing dog. And then finishing in our child's pose. Nice movement for the lumbar spine. So then we'll come to a downward facing dog from here. So the hands are still way out in front of the body. We tuck the toes, let the hips rise up, and take some time to play. So pedal out your feet a little bit. I'm going to move my block so it's not blocking my feet here. So as one knee bends, the other leg straightens and the heel presses, and then switch. And when we play here in down dog, if your wrists get tired, you can drop to your elbows. You can take breaks when you need. And maybe play with the placement of your feet. So you might try taking them a little wider as you pedal out the feet, a little bit more narrow. You can turn them out so you have your heels kind of towards each other. Or you can turn your toes in. So just maybe about another 30 seconds of finding some stretching here. Through the ankles, through the feet, through the toes, through the Achilles tendons and the calves, even up into those hamstrings. And the hips can move a little bit from side to side. So you might push out to the right when the right heel's down, and push out to the left when the left heel's down. Yeah, let's do 1 more on each side. And then little by little, walk your feet towards your hands into a forward bend. Now a block is a nice tool to use, or even a chair for a forward bend if you need to place your hands on top. If the hamstrings and the low back are really tight today, or we can grab opposite elbows and hang in ragdoll pose. And let's just let the head relax. So shake it around a little bit, not too vigorously, but let the weight of your head pull those cervical vertebrae apart. Allow the forward fold to stretch through the lumbar spine, but keep some engagement in your abdominals. And then we'll begin to flow in and out of a forward bend. So releasing the hands, bend the knees generously and reverse swan dive as you come all the way up. Look up towards your fingers. Then exhale, fold back down, bending your knees as much as you need to. And take this at your own pace. Now, if your lower back is bothering you today, come only to a half forward fold. So you might bring your fingers down to your shins and just keep a nice flat back. Or bring your hands to the top of your couch or a chair right here just to support. This doesn't have to be maximum stretching of your hamstrings. We're still early in our class today, and our focus is on lower back, so we really want to find that safe place. When you come up, you can add a little bit more of a back bend if that feels okay for your spine. Just keep the abdominals switched on. And then next time you come up, reaching the arms, we'll prepare for a chair pose. So inhale, stretch up. Let the palms float down to heart center and sit into chair. Now with a twisting chair, keep your palms together. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, sit into chair and slightly bring the left elbow across towards the right knee and look over that shoulder. Inhale, back up, palms stay together. This time turning to the left, right elbow comes across. And I prefer to keep my feet and knees together in chair pose, but you can also separate your feet a little bit wider. But if that's the case, you want to be sure that your knees are not knocking in or bowing outward, that you have a nice alignment with your knees. And also when you're twisting, you want to keep those knees even. So sometimes one knee will want to come forward of the other. If we're allowing the twist to occur from our pelvis rather than our spine. One more repetition to each side. Beautiful dynamic movement of strengthening and rotation. And then coming all the way up for our last one and sitting straight down into the center. Utkatasana, powerful pose, intense pose. So we'll keep this right knee bent and step the left foot back to a short stance warrior one. Keeping the hips nicely squared, stack the shoulders over hips and rotate those hips so that you feel your right thigh drawing back, your left hip drawing forward. Nice and strong through the legs. And then step the back foot forward back into your chair. We'll step the right foot back into our short stance warrior one, finding good alignment. Take your time. And then we'll step back in. Now alternating sides, we'll add the arms reaching. So as you step back, arms come up into goal post. We find our warrior one, pulling those shoulder blades back. And as you step forward, the palms close again. Inhale, back. Exhale, close. These are at your own pace with the speed of your own breath. So right now I'm stepping back into a warrior one, which means the back foot is planted and the heel is down on the mat. If you want a little bit more balance challenge, step back into high crescent lunge, where the back heel is lifted off the mat, the ball of the foot is on the floor. You have a little bit of a stretch through the bones of your toes. Now our stance isn't as strong in our high crescent lunge, so we'll work a little bit more on balance and stability. And let's take one more on each side. Nice and stable. And stepping back into your chair pose. Brace the core. Inhale, circle sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, we'll swan dive into our forward fold all the way down. Stepping the right foot back way behind you into low lunge. Now you may need a block for this one as we twist. So you can place the block underneath your right hand and we'll open out into a twist, reaching up. Then rotate the hand behind your back. I have the back of my hand facing my low back. Reach the arm back up and set it back down to tap the floor. So there's 4 movements. We inhale as we rotate. Exhale as the hand goes behind the back. Inhale as the arm reaches. Exhale to flow back down. 2 more times on this side. Breathe up. Reach back. If you choose, your back knee can come down to the mat as well. And 1 more. Stretch up. Reach back. Stretch up. And reach down. So finding your balance, the back foot steps back into forward bend. We inhale to rise up to give the legs a little break. Exhale to swan dive back down into your forward bend. And this time the left foot steps way back into that nice lunge. The block, if you choose to use it, can be underneath your left hand. So we'll flow through our movements. Inhale to reach. Exhale to wrap the arm back. Inhale, reach. Exhale to lower. 3 more. So we're working on, of course, twisting, but also this rotation of your shoulder. So this is a nice movement for the rotator cuff. As long as you don't have a current injury here, this should be a safe movement for you to do. But listen to your body. If you feel any pain, you can just bring your hand to your hip. And up. And rotate. And up. And down. I think we have 1 more on this side. If not, I gave you an extra one. And once you come to the center, same as before, the back foot will step forward into your forward bend. Might need a couple little hop steps. Inhale, rise up to give the legs a break. And press the palms at the heart center. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes just to check in, see how the body's feeling from head to toe. Noticing that well-being, that feeling of power and control, and yet softness. Let's inhale, sweep the arms out and up again. Exhale, swan dive into our forward fold. Walk both feet back into plank pose. We'll let our knees find the mat and come into child's. So a big part of our practice today is focused on strengthening the low back. So we'll come forward into baby cobra. So we'll draw into our kneeling plank and then lower all the way down onto the belly. So baby cobra essentially uses the muscles of the back to lift rather than pushing with your arms. So your hands are right here next to your shoulders, but maybe just the fingertips. We're not pushing in hard. And then activate your legs. So tighten, tighten, tighten the muscles. Push the tops of your feet down into the floor so they're not floating up, they're pressing down. And then with the muscles of the back, inhale and lift the chest away from the floor. Exhale and come back down. Now, if yours is just a tiny one, that's okay. The muscles are still working. It doesn't have to be a great, big, huge back bend. I want you to do what feels good in your lower back. And one more, rising up and coming down. Now the hands slide forward out in front of you, again on the fingertips. This time we'll lift the right leg and the left arm up, and you can let the chest come up a little bit as well. So there's that same action in the back, and then lower down, switching sides, left leg, right hand lifts. This is much the same as our spinal balance we did at the beginning of our practice. It's called the contralateral raise, and it's excellent for building strength in your spine. Now, if it bothers your shoulders to have your arms way out in front of you, you can tuck them in and just use the leg lifting as the chest comes up, and then the other side. So let's do one more of each. And then a counter pose is either child's pose or cat stretch. So draw your hands under your shoulders, push yourself up. You can either come all the way back to child's pose or just come to your hands and knees and round your back like a cat. There's a lot of poses in yoga that we always want to do a counter stretch afterwards. And spinal extensions are one of those. We want to come back into a little bit of a flexion. So this will prepare us now for Locust. So walk your hands forward again, lower all the way down on your belly. This time bringing your hands next to the sides of your body. You can turn your palms up, turn them in, or you can lace your hands behind your back. And we'll lift both legs up and the chest up and hold here 5 breaths. So this is a really strong action because we're lifting both legs up off the floor, the chest is up, there's a lot of work in the spine. And we're breathing 3 more breaths. And 2. And 1. And then as you exhale down, bring your hands in front and make a pillow for your forehead to relax your head straight down. From this pose, we'll stretch the right quadricep, preparing for half bow. So if you can reach your right hand back and catch your ankle here, that's option 1. If you need to roll over onto your left side to get your ankle to bring it in position, that's option 2. Or use your yoga strap, loop it around the bottom of the foot so you can reach that ankle. So you can be sideline, or you can roll this back over to your belly. So for me, I am really tight in my quads, so I'm feeling a really giant stretch right now in that right leg. You might not be and might need a little bit more lengthening. So where we can go from this is to tighten the right glute and push your hip down into your yoga mat, and that's going to lengthen that hip flexor a little bit more. We can also bring this into a half bow pose. by lifting the chest back up and then trying to lift this leg up off the floor a little bit. That's a little bit too tough for my tight quads, so I'm just going to stay down in a passive stretch. And let's hold here 3 more breaths wherever you are in this pose. Whether you're side lying, whether you have your strap, or taking that advanced movement with your half bow. 1 more breath. And then release that side. So I want to stretch the right side again from the hands and knees, but if the next movement is not okay for your body, you're going to do the one we just did one more time. Second option is to push up to your hands and knees, so you're on all fours. So now we have the opposite hand that's going to reach back and grab the ankle, and I like to kind of tuck it behind my leg a little bit so I can get it, or wrap the yoga strap around your ankle. And then we come back up to our kneeling half bow. So again, if this one's not doable for you, come back down on your belly or roll back on your side and stretch the right side again from this position. And we'll hold and breathe. Now this can be a pretty generous stretch in your shoulder too, so be mindful of that. Make sure that feels fine in your body as well. And just 1 more breath here. And then release that ankle. And we'll all take a child's pose, either wide-kneed, extended, or traditional child's pose with your arms next to the sides of your thighs. And then we'll try the first pose on the left leg stretching, reaching the arms forward. Glide back into your kneeling plank, coming down onto the belly. You can make a pillow for your forehead. And then if you can reach that left ankle with your left hand while you're on your belly, reach back, catch it. Or you can roll over onto your right side, or use your yoga strap to lasso that ankle. Find the one you like the best and hold. Just notice if you feel any difference from right to left side. And there's a good chance you will. I have more arthritis in this knee, so my knee doesn't like to bend much more than this. So sometimes if that's the case for us as we're getting older, we might not find the stretch in the joint if we can't bend the knee an adequate amount. So then we can add squeezing the glute, pushing the hip back down into the mat, or raising up into our half bow. See if that gives you a little bit better stretch. Let's hold 3 more breaths wherever you are in this pose. And last breath. Then releasing that ankle. Now, if you know that you can't do the one on your knees, just stay there for a moment, take a break, and you'll be repeating the one we just did. Or press yourself right up to all fours. And then with the right hand this time, you'd reach back, catch that left ankle behind the thigh, or wrap the yoga strap around, and coming on up. And again, this can be a pretty good stretch for that right shoulder as well. So be focused on kind of outside of the box from the areas we're not actively working on primarily. And this can also be a bigger back bend. So make sure that those abs are engaged here and we're not just sinking down into the belly. Just 2 more breaths. And then releasing that ankle, press back to our child's pose 1 more time. So I really enjoy throwing a balance pose into each one of my classes. And when we work on quad flexibility, it's nice to throw in the dancer pose. So let's come up to our feet. You can press up to down dog. Walk your hands to your feet or your feet to your hands. Either roll up or reverse swan dive to come all the way up to a stand. Press the palms to heart center. So you may need something to assist you with balance. I like to step off my mat. My daughter has a really fat, squishy one, and it's harder to balance when you're standing on an uneven surface. So if you need a wall, a chair, find that, and we'll come into a nice mountain pose. Now I'll let you decide which side you want to work on first, because we all balance better on one foot than another. I balance a little bit better on my left foot, which is facing you, the right. So I'm going to pick up my left knee. So we pick it up. Now if you can grab it here at the ankle, or you can loop your yoga strap around your ankle, bring it down and hold the pose. I have another little trick. So if you can't catch your ankle, a nice thing to do, and I think these couches are in the view of the screen, is you can put your foot behind you on a couch. So it's as if you have it, and you can still work on balance. You can maybe pick it up off of the couch to hold it. And then with our dancer pose, we can hinge forward any amount. Once we have the movement, glide forward just as if you're coming into warrior 3. And we'll hold wherever you are. Let's try to get 3 more breaths in. Find a good focal point. One more breath. And then sometimes it's hard, but slowly rise up to release. Okay, that next side might be a different ball game altogether. So really ground, find good posture, make sure you're breathing, spread your toes a little bit on that standing leg, and let's try the other side. Maybe you're going to the couch, or using your yoga strap, or holding onto a wall or chair. So it's really important not to come forward with this until you feel really secure and strong and grounded. So you don't ever want to rush these balance poses. You want to move nice and slowly. You don't have to come forward. You can stay here. Let's see if I can come forward on this side. It's going to be a challenge. Find your drishti, which is your focal point. Find your breath. Find your core, your abdominal strength. Let's try to get 3 more breaths here. Sometimes the challenge as a yoga teacher is saying all these things to you and talking while I'm trying to do this balance pose. Woo! But you know what? It's not a competition, right? We do what we can. I've learned that over the years. Okay, let's come on up and back to our mountain pose. I wish I could see how you all did, but I'm sure that was a great challenge for everybody. Nicely done. Let's come back down onto our mat now with your yoga strap, and we'll do a good amount of stretching today for lower back, hamstring, and IT band. So find a place on your mat where you can lengthen your legs out nice and long. With your yoga strap to give you extra length, you might not need one today, and that's okay too. We're going to bend the left knee in to tree. Reach the right arm up, take a nice big breath, stretch, and then as you exhale, place it under the ball of the foot and give it a gentle tug. So you want to get your foot to flex straight up at about a 90-degree angle. So our first 3 breaths are moving breaths. So we inhale as our body is upright. And we exhale to come forward and just test the waters and see what we're feeling in our low back and in our hamstring. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale to come back up. Exhale to come forward, maybe a little bit further. 1 more moving breath. Come forward as far as you feel comfortable and then hold for 3 breaths in stillness. So if you don't need your yoga strap and you can reach the bottom of your foot here, that's another option as well. Or if you don't have a strap and you can't reach the feet, just place your hands right down onto the mat. 1 more breath. And then let go of the strap. Inhale, just reach the arms up. Exhale to lower them down and close this knee in. Reach the right arm across, holding that knee, and we'll twist looking behind the left shoulder. Nice long spine. And then a counter twist the other direction. Reach the arms up and twist the opposite way. So I have my left upper arm kind of tucked here inside the knee, my right hand reaching across, or let's see, right hand behind, left hand reaching across, and a nice gaze over that right shoulder. Inhale, reach back up, and exhale, lower down. We'll switch sides, so the left leg goes long, the right knee comes into tree, and we let this open. Align your hips to neutral, reaching the strap up. Take a breath in. As you come forward, tuck it right underneath the ball of the foot. Tug so you have a good flexion in that ankle. And you can let this strap out as long as you need to get your leg pretty straight. 3 moving breaths. Inhale. Exhale, come forward. What do you feel that might be different on this side? And inhale, lengthen back up. Exhale to find your edge. 1 more dynamic breath. And come forward as far as you feel comfortable and hold 3 stationary breaths. And move those breaths into the back body. Move the breaths into the tight spaces of your spine. Then releasing your yoga strap to the floor. Inhale, the arms rise. Exhale, they lower, and this right knee closes in. Left arm comes up, and you can grab hold of that knee and look over that right shoulder. Try not to slump or slouch. Really lift up nice and long. And then your counter twist to the other side. The arms lift. And we rotate. The right shoulder is the inside of your right knee. Left hand behind. And really find a nice range of motion in your neck. Looking as far as you can. That chin comes over your left shoulder. And then we'll reach the arms up and lower down. Now with both legs extended out. So using your yoga strap if you need. Let's bring it under the bottom of both feet and first give it a tug. So we have those ankles flexed at about 90 degrees. 3 dynamic breaths. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to come forward. And try to come forward with a pretty neutral spine. So we're not really hunching and curving. We're keeping those shoulder blades back. Inhale to come back up. Exhale to find your edge. one more. And holding stationary for 3 breaths. Now for me, the sensations are much different when I have both legs extended than when I have one knee open in tree. It really makes it a different pose, adding that hip opener. I feel a lot less in my lower back here and more in my hamstrings. One more breath. And then release, the arms rise. And exhale down to the sides. Transition onto your back. And we'll do some dynamic moving twists to strengthen the lower back and the core. So once you come down, bring your knees to stack into table and your elbows to plant on the mat. Now it takes a pretty good amount of core strength just to hold your knees up into table properly. So if you're feeling you're not quite strong enough at this time to hold this correctly, then your feet can come down and you can still do the twist with your feet on the mat. So it's a wonderful second option. And then we'll inhale as the knees are stacked over the hips. And we'll exhale to drop the knees over to the right side. And keep your left shoulder pressed into the mat. Now I'm only coming about halfway, because if I come further than that, my left shoulder blade is going to lift up off the mat. And feel the strengthening here in your core. Now let's come back up to the center. Pause there. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, drop those knees to the left. Now we held maybe about 10 seconds on the other side, so just hold it here. Keep pressing your right shoulder back into the mat. Feel the strengthening. Your feet can be down on the floor if this is better for you. You still get the work. And then come back to center, inhaling here. Now with the breath and the movement, we inhale when the knees are over the hips. We exhale to drop them to the right side. It's just through the exhalation. Inhale to bring them back up. Exhale to the left side. So only coming about halfway down, keeping both shoulder blades planted into the floor, and using those elbows to help stabilize your upper body. Let's take 3 more each direction. Make sure you're breathing, not holding your breath. Two more. Another thing I want you to check for is to make sure your knees aren't coming too close to your chest. If you're doing it like this in a ball, you're not getting as much work. So those knees should be right over your hips. 1 more each side. And then coming back to center. Let the feet find the mat about hips distance apart. The hands come to the side of your body with your palms facing up. So we'll rise in and out of bridge pose without really using our arms much. So as you start to inhale, begin to tuck the hips under and lift through that whole breath in. And then exhale to roll back down. When you get to the bottom, come back to a neutral spine. Inhale to roll up. Exhale to roll down. 1 more time. Inhale to roll up. This time stay up and exhale to hold. Now reversing our breath. Inhale to roll down. Exhale to roll up. The movement's the same, we've just reversed the breath pattern. 2 more. Inhale down. Exhale up. Maybe you're coming a little farther now. Inhale to come back down. Exhale to go up your last time here at the top. And then hold here. Inhale. And exhale to finish the sequence to the bottom. Let's come into a hip opener. Our figure 4 stretch. We'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh without using your arms to pull in. I want you to use the strength of your legs and your core to pull your knees up toward you. So I'm pushing this left leg up against my right ankle to push the right thigh in close to my body. So I'm not using my arms to facilitate the stretch. I'm using my legs and a little bit of the core. One more breath. And then lower back down. Switch sides. Left ankle crosses over right. This knee is open. Use the strength of your legs and your core to bring it up. And then push that right thigh up towards you, which will push the left leg in closer, which gives you the stretch. Nice and easy as we breathe. And then lower back down. We'll switch and do one more set on each side. You can do it the same way, using your legs, or you can use your arms, either reaching around or reaching through. Pull those legs in toward you, or you can take cradle the baby here. Whichever one you like. Get a nice stretch through that hip. One more breath. And then release that side down. Switch left ankle over right. Choose either using your legs to push up or your arms to pull in, or wrap in cradle the baby and lower that bottom leg down. Find the intensity that you enjoy in this movement. Two more breaths. And then lower it down, uncross the ankles. Allow your feet to come together as the knees open into our Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound ankle pose. Now sometimes if your hips are tight, this pose will bother your lower back. So if this one isn't for you today and it's uncomfortable to be in this position, you can reverse this by closing your knees together and opening your feet out about as wide as your mat is, and just let your knees fall in. So they're both hip openers. They're just a little bit different, and this one is easier on that low back. So we'll just be holding your choice about 5 breaths. You can bring your hands onto your belly if you'd like, and reconnect with the breath. And fill the belly like a balloon as you inhale. And let it fall and float back down on the exhalation. Just check in and notice if you're tensing your hips or gripping or tightening. Just let those muscles relax and surrender to your pose. If you need some more time at home in meditation, you feel comfortable and you would like to remain as you are, feel free. No need to end the class together. You can just stay and relax. If you're following the sound of my voice, we'll prepare to rise back to a simple cross-leg pose where we began. So the knees can close together, and you can choose to roll over onto one side or grab behind your knees and rock yourself to roll up to a seated position. And when you come back to simple cross-leg pose, notice the way you always cross your ankles. For me, it's always my right one in front. So I would like you to cross your ankles the opposite way as we finish our class. We'll come back to eyes closed and a nice long spine. And we'll finish with 3 circles to the right and 3 circles to the left for the lower back. So inhale to prepare. Exhale and circle around and forward. Might feel a little bit differently at the end of class than at the beginning, or with the opposite ankle crossed in front. And then we'll pause and reverse, starting to the left. Hey, Richie. And finishing one more circle. Finding that neutral spine. We'll take a breath in together, sweep the arms out and up. Press the palms together and draw the thumbs to the forehead, our area of wisdom and knowledge for positive thoughts for our day and our week ahead. We bring our thumbs to the lips for positive words to ourselves and to those around us in our life. And we bring the thumbs to the heart for positive actions in all that we do. And the light and joy and peace that resides within me honors the light, joy, and peace in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. I'd love to spend a minute or two in the chat or in gallery mode. If you want to hang on with me, I'll turn our recording off first.
Recording has stopped.